Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Ambrose Blowfield back here again from the Sales Mastery Company. And today we're doing something a little bit different. As opposed to sharing you with some of our unique IP alongside the 300 courses we've written and developed over the years, we're going to share some insights into three of the global leaders in the technology sector and try to share some of those mindset secrets that allowed them to go from good to great in their particular fields. Now, I appreciate for many of you, you may not work in IT or technology, but believe me, a lot of the lessons around their mindset and their planning and that top 2 inches is what sets them apart. And they probably would have been highly successful in other sectors. Not saying that's guaranteed, but it's the mindset that we want to work on. Now, if you've interacted with us over the last couple of weeks, on social media, you've likely received access to this particular workbook. This workbook is called Mindset Secrets from Gurus. And what I'd like you to do, if you haven't already received this, send a quick email to admin@salesmasterycompany.com. Request this workbook with this title. That way you don't have to worry about the notes you're taking right now. You just have to worry about the action you're going to take. In fact, as you flick through from page 1 to 2 and then on to page 3, this is my challenge for you. I'm only going to be with you for about 10 or 15 minutes right now. So my challenge to you is to take 3 lessons from today. In fact, that is one of the global challenges I encourage you to do. Whenever you listen to a podcast, whenever you go to a conference or an industry event, challenge yourself to walk away with 3 actions. The chances are one of those actions is going to be absolutely dynamite. Chances are one of the second actions you pick is going to be good. And the chances are the third action you pick may not add particular value. And if you only pick one action to take place, then what if you pick the wrong one and it's the one that of little or no value? So please, 3 things today, 3 things on any of the lives we put out through LinkedIn or through YouTube or other channels that we've actually got. And likewise with any of our courses, 3 things per course, per topic, please. Microsoft genius or Microsoft guru, Microsoft founder, Microsoft head honcho, Bill Gates. Not so good on the people front. In fact, they stagnated, by the way, from a manager perspective when he was the CEO managing people day to day. And they accelerated whenever he was more in product development and innovation. That was where his strength lay. And he understood his personality profile and he positioned himself originally in that invention side, then got involved in the people side, struggled with that, went back to invention side, and Microsoft expanded exponentially as well. So please keep that in mind. I'm not suggesting these 3 people were great at all things. In fact, Steve Jobs was often criticized for his people management side of things as well. So please keep that in mind. Obviously, operating a lot in that philanthropic side of things, although that's obviously been challenged for the last few years in terms of what level of influence he has globally, but that's not what for today's about. Let's talk about 3 of the mindset tips he would give to other people if interviewed. They've been written about, they've been recorded and talked about on a regular basis. Number 1, be competitive. Number 2, develop your passion. Number 3, be obsessed. So whether you're a salesperson, a sales manager, or business owner, I'm encouraging you to think about one of these 3 as an area that you might need to do some more work into. So when he thinks about being competitive, he built himself up and developed his skills from childhood to be able to be competitive. Now, I want you to understand something we don't talk about too much these days is when Microsoft launched into the marketplace, one of the big giants they were trying to take on was the control of large corporates such as the IBMs of the world. In fact, Apple also went toe to toe with IBM as well. And so that he had that dynamism and that competitive edge. One of the biggest challenges these days when I talk to family-owned business owners around the world these days, no matter where they are in the world, whichever continent they're in, it's 6 continents, not Antarctica yet, but 6 continents we talk to people in. And what I find time and time again is they're sick and tired of this whole anti-competitive behavior in a school environment where every kid wins a prize for participation and they're all told they're all winners. It's not true in business. It sets people up for failure in their career. There's endless research that suggests it. Whether they're an entrepreneur and owning a business or whether they're straight up career earner, the reality here is competition matters and we can't make everybody a winner. Statistically, that is impossible. And you're helping people develop anxiety later in their life if you adhere to that. Number 2, develop your passion. Bill Gates, I believe, could have been successful in other walks of life. Now, technology would have been a huge advantage to him because he loved computers. Now, I'm not saying if you don't love your product, you should quit your job in sales and move into a new industry, but you've got to find something that you love. Personally, I love the clients we serve. I happen to love personal development as well, which is why I write and deliver a lot of training courses around the world. But the fact remains is I have found multiple passions and also in the problems and challenges my customers face, and I love helping them solve them and the impact that that has. So please, in your career or in your business, Look for something that you're passionate about doing. Now, maybe it's not the case where we can say if you find what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. I've worked many days over the last 19 years around the world, and I've traveled long hours across multiple time zones. But the fact remains is it's easy to get out of bed in the morning every day if there's a passion from your work. For me, there's multiple passions, and ironically, or not ironically, but just by coincidence, passion is also one of our core values and has been on and off for 19 years. And then number 3, be obsessed. Now, the being obsessed is an interesting one because people talk about obsession being negative. It can rob you of critical thinking or logical thinking. It makes you too emotional and things like that. Bill Gates's case, now again, we're talking about a global leading business like we are with the other 2 gentlemen in a moment, but for him, he literally accelerated the business world allegedly by at least 10 years by allowing people to own affordable software solutions on personal computers as opposed to mainframe computers, which is what the IBMs in the world were doing before that. So again, finding a little bit of that passion and seeing if you can turn it into a little bit of an obsession as well allows you to do that. So that might be solving an industry problem. I'm somewhat obsessed in many cases just helping family companies to grow. I love that. And it's not to say I don't want to help others grow. It's just I really, really love that. And just sometimes think about that business is maybe just a little bit too much. But I think that's passion gone into obsession a little bit, and it does help our clients, obviously. Now, Steve Jobs, who's no longer with us, obviously founded Apple. He founded it with another Steve Wozniak. So again, a couple of Steves in there, just like Microsoft had an important Steve in that one as well. And for him, the 3 things were exceptional influence, strong vision and focus, and survivor of tough times. Now, the one I want to talk about here in particular, especially for those of you who are a manager or business owner, is just that second one, strong vision and focus. Focus is one of the hardest things for any human, whether you're in sales or marketing, business ownership or management. It's a very hard thing to do. Focus in your personal life, focus with your finances, focus with your health, focus with your business life. Focus is a very difficult thing to do. Now, interestingly, obviously Apple or iPhone and iMac have actually managed to develop a huge broad range of, albeit technology-driven solutions for the world, for individuals in particular, and they've done a phenomenal job of that. But they've been incredibly focused around that juggling act between, good, effective, clean design and good, effective technology. Now, I'm not going to argue with you that an iPhone's better than the Samsung phone's better than a Huawei phone or whatever that happens to be. The fact remains is they're very, very successful at managing to be focused about who they are and what they are. And that takes real guts. And I suspect that's not just a sales conversation. I know a lot of the people we coach and train around the world are sales managers and salespeople. But that's probably a business conversation, the business strategy conversation, and the marketing strategy conversation. But at the same time, he's always had a big vision to have the boldness to charge a significant amount of money as an alternative of a personal computer. Now, I'm not saying that Apple computers or MacBooks are a PC, but they are personal computers in a true sense of a personally owned computer. So again, managing to get really clear around the vision. Now, one of the things I'll stress that I believe from the research I've done in and around Apple and the founding journey they went through and the failures that they fought through, although I'm not talking about that, although the last point is touching on that a little bit, is just remember clearly, there was clear alignment of the team to the vision. So one of the things I want to be clear on is if you're the senior salesperson, you're the sales manager, you're the business owner, maybe you're an operations manager, you've got to make sure your team is aligned to A, the team vision for this quarter or this year, and B, the company vision for this year or this 5-year journey we're on right now. Alignment to vision is one area that people say, yeah, my team kind of get it. So here's a question. If I was to pick up my mobile phone right now, and if I was to phone the newest member of your team and the most experienced member of your team, regardless of age, newest and most experienced, would they both tell me that the vision for the team and the vision for the business is the same thing as each other? Because if 2 people in your team can't say the same thing for the vision for the team and the vision for the business, then there's misalignment around vision, so they cannot be focused. So please make sure we are clear on the communication and the recommunication again of the vision for your team and for your business. And then finally, you are going to have to weather storms. Industries come and go. They go through boom times and they go through feast and famine. The reality here is every business, every project, every team, every company, and every economy on planet Earth for the whole history of known economic development has to go through peaks and troughs. We refer to it in marketing as a product life cycle, where we go through introduction, growth, maturity, decline. Some people refer to that as the spring, summer, autumn, winter seasons of a business, or seasons of a brand, or seasons of a project. You've got to be weathering the storms. You've got to know that the good times will not last forever. The reason why we've got those sayings is cliches are there because they are so repeated that we believe them to be sayings that are universal. You will always go through feast and famine times at different times unless you keep innovating endlessly to extend the maturity phase into further growth phases. But that takes a lot of planning and a lot of sacrifice. Now, Elon Musk, I would suggest, has his finger in more commercial pies than anybody at the scale that he does. And of course, SpaceX and Tesla are likely the two main brands associated with it. Obviously, he bought Twitter, which has now been rebranded as X, and he's got probably big visions around that. The reality around someone like an Elon Musk, very similar to the Steve Jobs is, found a real passion for what he does. For him, his work ethic is phenomenal. Now, I'm not saying you have to follow his work ethic. Allegedly, he's worked 16, 18-hour days regularly, sleeping at the office under his desk type thing. The reality about that is his lifestyle choice. A lot of my clients want a better work-life balance. They're often family people. They want to spend time, with their lifelong partner and their kids and everything else like that. And that makes really, really good sense. But the fact remains is discover your work ethic. Now, work ethic is the sort of thing a lot of us learn at home from our parents. But we can learn it from our colleagues. We can learn it from our workplace. We can learn it from the best teacher or coach or manager we ever had in our life. Work ethic you can absorb from those around you. So the question to look at from your perspective is your work ethic going to help you achieve the career and outcome of your career in 5, 10, 15, 20 years' time? Because allegedly, 80 to 90% of humans don't believe that by working hard today, they can influence tomorrow for themselves. They're living kind of hand to mouth from a mentality and mindset perspective. The thing that we've got to be clear on is all of the people that we might study in sport, work, music, business, all of them operated with a growth mindset belief, which is, if I make sacrifices today, I will have a better tomorrow, whether tomorrow is in 1 year or in 10 years or in 20 years or whatever it's going to be. I remember seeing an interview with one of the founders of LinkedIn after they sold to Microsoft for $26 billion. And he said, it's so funny because everyone says we're an overnight success as a social media platform. However, it took 10 years of blood, sweat, and tears and near failure 3 or 4 times, nearly completely wiped out, and people are still calling me an overnight success. People forget the sacrifice. They forget the big vision and the focus. They forget the hard work and the discipline and the delayed gratification principle. So when I'm talking about work ethic, I'm talking about, do you have that growth mindset? Do you believe your hard work today produces great results tomorrow? Surrounding yourself with great experts is going to help catapult your project or catapult your business into the future. Now, problem solving, Elon Musk is phenomenal. If you think that NASA had been sending up rockets to space for well in excess of 50 years, and then along came the SpaceX side of things, and they said, hey, rather than just blowing them up across the North Atlantic, you know what, we can actually have them come back to Cape Canaveral and actually land on their bottom, so to speak, where they sort of take off straight up to the sky and actually reverse and then land with the thrusters at the bottom. The reality about that was just different problem solving. So my question to you is, in your role or as a team or possibly wider as a company, what are the problems that your industry hasn't solved yet? What are the frustrations your customers are facing today that if you sat around and brainstormed and maybe thought a bit more liberally and openly, you're able to start looking at it and thinking, you know what, there's a better way of doing things. We could solve that for them. As a result, SpaceX, weirdly, in my opinion, SpaceX are subcontracting work into NASA and have taken over some of their rocket side of things, which is absolutely phenomenal because they've done it in a space of about 10 years as opposed to 60 years. That's a huge advancement around problem solving. So problem solving is something for us to embrace. It's something we really encourage you to do. In fact, one of the sales competencies when we assess people in a sales competency tool is to talk about critical thinking. It is a skill tools worth developing. It's something that I believe all children should be encouraged to develop far more than maybe recalling knowledge, given that knowledge is at their fingertips these days. But that problem solving or critical thinking mindset is important. And then finally, develop a wide knowledge. Someone like an Elon Musk, just like someone like actually Stephen, Stephen Fry, very broad knowledge across a lot of subject matters. And I'm always really find those people fascinating because they take a deep interest into lots of different things. Now, I'm not saying his opinion's always right about it. I'm just saying he continues to broaden his mind. So this is my challenge to you. What could you learn in the next 12 months, not simply to help you grow in your career or in your role, but what could you learn in the next 12 months that helps grow you as a person? For me at the moment, not that I need to learn it, I'm choosing to learn Spanish. That's my thing. So what are you going to learn that's going to develop your ability to acquire more knowledge and broaden your knowledge of the world, not just simply within your career? Now, if you do want help within your career at the Sales Mastery Company, of course, we've got lots of programs, whether we work with people one-on-one in-house, whether we put them through our Sales Academy, where they work in a small group environment, get access to me most weeks. And for some people, they just want world-class techniques and templates, and they just do this sort of learn as they go and do it yourself type approach. So if you do have any questions on that, feel free to send us an email to admin@salesmasterycompany.com. Let's hop on a Zoom or a call with you right now. Find out where you are, find out where you want to go, and see ways we can help you. Most important thing for today, my challenge was this. Please, could you write down 3 things right now you're going to challenge yourself to improve on and grow on moving forward, taking on board, of course, the mindset learnings from the 3 great industry leaders that we've shared with you today. As always, I'm Ambrose Blofield. We're the Sales Mastery Company, and be sure to take action.